The president, for example, issued an EI and says, it didn't say churches are opened. Some people don't read the EIs. It says you may. So the churches who have an understanding of what the law said, the use of the permissive language, decided that you say I may, my decision is that I don't want to. The president again said schools may open. May open. If you intend to open, you must open the school subject to the protocols you are supposed to undergo. Fumigation, disinfection, among others. Then they went ahead to say students may return to school. So a student is not under compulsion to go to school. And the Ghana Education Service clearly understands that, and they say, well, we encourage you to go, but if you decide not to go and you can study at home and then come and take the exam or whatever your choice, that is your decision. Why should the exemption given for the registration exercise be blamed on the state or the EC or the president if somebody went there and as a result of that, coronavirus got worse?
Well, Samson, I don't want to relitigate this because I think it's been litigated enough. And the last chance to do something about it was at the Supreme Court, and nothing really happened. The Supreme Court gave the Electoral Commission the go-ahead to undertake the exercise. I believe Fifi has made a good distinction between discretionary activities and an activity like registering to vote, which really you cannot just decide, well, I don't want to do it, because if you don't do it, it carries with it so many consequences, including sometimes even your ability to run for for office in the future. Having said all that, the point is the Electoral Commission has assured us that it is able to do this safely. And so we should hold them to that. We should demand that they do it safely. And frankly, the way I see it, if there is any evidence that something has gone wrong, they should be held responsible, because unlike the Trump example that you were giving, that Fifi has explained it. That is discretionary. This is not. Rather than litigate it, let us figure out ways to monitor continuously what is going on and make adjustments as needed. Where I might have an issue, and I am happy my friend Mr. Srebo is there, maybe he can help me, because some of us, through no fault of us, are locked out of the country. We cannot come in, therefore we cannot register. Many of us, including me, we were previously registered. There was really, as far as I can tell, nothing wrong with my registration card. They have rendered it obsolete. Now I can't come and register. What specific plans do they have for people like me? That's the question I would want him to address.
Right. Whilst he gets ready to address that question, what would you say to anybody who says you cannot be right by saying that the EC should be held to improve the situation when they have clearly told you before you come to the place that you have to do these things to reduce your risk?
Well, of course, individual responsibility is important, but they are in charge. They have invited people to come and register. And so they have ultimate responsibility to secure the safety of these people who honor their invitation to come and register. To just say that, well, we have said X, Y, and Z, and if you don't do it, we don't care. That's not good enough. It would almost be saying that when it comes to voting, we'll tell you that vote once, But if you decide to vote 5 times, well, that's your problem. No. The EC has a responsibility, an affirmative responsibility to provide a safe place for people to show up.
Okay.
They went to the Supreme Court and gave the assurance that they are able to do it. And so I don't think we should relitigate that. We should hold them to their own words, that they are able to provide safe grounds for people to come and register. If they can't do that, then there's a big problem. Something, I'm afraid that unless we are very careful, we would end up with a voters register that has so many questions surrounding it that it is not possible that it can be used to organize a fair election. I'm very concerned about that, because registering so many people during a pandemic is not a trivial exercise. You can Google Zambia. They were supposed to do registration this month. They postponed it. The Electoral Commission, they said, no, we can't do it. So we are going to postpone it to October. And in October, what we will do, people who have previously registered, they just have to do verification, and we will register new people. That to me makes sense. But, different election managers do things differently. And I respect that. They think they can register 17 million people during this pandemic era. Well, let them do it. But let them do it safely. And if they can't do it safely, let us hold them responsible.
Now, from the caution from the health authorities or the experts, it becomes obvious that what is going on is a fertile breeding ground for an exponential rise in the infections, regardless of the assurances that are given. Would you suggest to the EC, the Supreme Court has not compelled them to go and do a registration. Would you suggest to them that they should consider halting this process?
I have no suggestion for them. I think people have made enough suggestions to them, and they have decided they have something in mind that they want to do. Now they should do it safely. If they are not able to do it safely, then we should hold them responsible. I mean, it is too late now to be giving them advice and offering them suggestions and so on and so forth, because we debated this for about 5 or 6 months. Everything that can be said has been said, and the EC has prevailed. Even the Supreme Court has given them the go-ahead. So let them go ahead, but they must do it responsibly or face the consequences. That's the point.
What's the point in holding somebody responsible for the dead when there was an opportunity to avoid the death occurring?
Well, of course, we can't go back to the Supreme Court and provide a hypothetical that you just provided, that people are going to die, so don't let them register. The Supreme Court was aware of that.
The Supreme Court didn't compel them.
Of that.
Professor Sari, the Supreme Court didn't compel the EC to go and do a registration. If the EC wants to stop it today, it can stop it, and it would not have violated any law.
I don't know. I think something you are really in the realm of hypotheticals, because we have been having this debate for about 5 months and 6 months, and it is very clear that the EC has decided that it is going to do a new register. Not only has it decided, it has actually started doing it.
Okay.
And so while it is doing it, you are asking me to advise them to stop. Well, I wish, my words were very powerful, but I don't think they are.
Okay.
And therefore, it is better to talk about the more realistic things. The more realistic things are, how do you create an environment where this exercise can happen safely? For instance, every polling station, or depending on the size of the polling station, the EC can earmark the number of people who show up for registration on any given day. maybe it's a small one, so 50 people. Maybe it's a medium-sized one, so 100 people. Maybe it's a large one, so 200 people. Then it may issue kits or pieces of paper, 1 to 50, and then everybody else goes home. And then the 50 people, they have lines drawn so that people know where to stand. It is a difficult exercise, but it can be done. And I think there has to be some planning going on, because the pictures that I am seeing are really frightening.
Okay, thank you. Let me go to Srebo Kwaku here. But the question I'm asking almost everybody, Dr. Prosasari, would you queue up and register if you were in the country from what you are seeing?
Personally?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
I won't.
Thank you.
Because I consider the risk to be too high.
Okay. Dr. Srebo Kwaku, can we take it from this point, the suggestion that Professor Kukwasari just makes, to sanitize the process so that people don't risk their lives, you know, more than they are doing now, if you like. He says you can issue chits, you can determine specific numbers of people you register for a particular, you know, registration center for a particular day. So we don't have to have people go to a place, a registration center, and sit the whole day.
Thank you very much. I want to put on record that I registered yesterday. Then a lot of things that he said we are already doing. The machine is able to generate queue control numbers. So we've told our officers that at least having worked for about 3 or 4 days, they know their capabilities. So they should generate the machine. When you go to queue control numbers, it will give you the days that you will select.
Okay. So
assuming the capacity of the team is the capacity of the team is to register 150, then they should generate the 150 and give them out to the people in the queue. Then those who have not, who don't fall within their capabilities, they will generate the following day's date and give it to them. So when they come the next day, they'll be considered. Again, we have increased the number of mobile teams, so that whenever there's huge numbers at the center, the officers will call out this officer concerned, and the officers will ask the mobile team to move in to help clear the people in the queue. But as I've been saying and will continue to say,
okay. Dr. Kwaku's line is getting bad. Okay, so let's get to fix Dr. Kwaku's line.
Ghanaians who are 18 years and above.
Okay.
Are you okay now?
Yeah, you can start. You say you are dealing with Ghanaians who are 18 years and above?
Yes, and they're of sound mind. So everybody should be concerned about his or her health before you think of others. You yourself should know that if you don't take the protocols very seriously, you may endanger your own life. So once we are able to push that into the understanding of people will then help the cause. Because whatever the commission decided to do, we are implementing them. But it's left to the applicants to also reciprocate. And we are going further. We have even added security persons. Then when people come there and they are not observing the protocols, they should implement the law. If they need to be arrested, they should. If they need to be sacked from the place, they should. We have asked our officers that whoever comes there and is breaching the regulation, they should ask them to go and come back. We're prepared to observe the protocols. So we are increasing the number of centers. We are increasing the number of mobile teams, and we are also asking anybody who matter to also speak, so that people will appreciate that we are not in normal times and we should abide by the protocols. Once we continue to observe this, it will be done. I want to say that Mali has done election during the protocol. Malawi has done it. Has done it. Others are doing what can also our health seriously.
We are certainly also paying attention, like you had been saying earlier before we got to this stage, paying attention to the science. And the science shows that in the last few weeks, our situation is not good. Now we have 117 deaths, and we have recorded so much. We are now hitting the 20,000 mark, even though we have about over 14,000 recoveries. Community infections is where we are now. We are not actually in importation of the infections. So we should be minded by the science. Professor Kukwasari's question to you also is, what happens to people like him? And I have seen a letter written to you, or a petition written to you by Ghanaians in the UK and elsewhere, led by Richard Sky, informing you that there are many of them, they are out there, they have been locked out. What are you doing to them? They desire to register and to vote.
If I heard that Dr. Ansah clearly said that he will not register. So those who want to register, while the ban on the travel outside and inside is lifted, they will take the next step. The law clearly says that if you are registered not less than 60 days to an election, you can be added to the list for that election. So if the ban is lifted and we have more than 60 days, then clearly we can register them and put them on the list for them to vote during the 2020 election. We should bear in mind that I don't know whether we will decide that we are going to conduct election on the 7th December. But if we are going to conduct the elections, then all activities that are supposed to be done should be done. Bear in mind that we should all take the necessary protocols so that we don't infest ourselves.
Do I hear you say you are planning for the possibility of registering people if the borders happen to be opened not more than less than 60 days to elections?
Exactly, it is in part of our timetable to raise Ghanaians outside, as we did in 2012, but for the COVID. And I'm saying that now there's a ban on the travel outside and inside. The borders are closed. So we cannot implement that part of the program. But if it is lifted before then, and if we have more than 60 days to election to do, we will do that. But if we register them less than 60 days, the law is correct. CI 91, that we cannot add them to the list.
Okay. So, Dr. Kweku, I desire to register and to vote. I take a number of things into consideration. In my area, I think you are doing in clusters. You are doing 6 days for each area and then you move on, right? So in my area, you are there right now.
You're right.
You are there right now. I have gone out and seen the queues. I am afraid I'm unable to attempt it because I'm not thinking about myself alone. I'm thinking about my family, and I'm thinking that I may have people who have, as they call it, underlying situations. So I must be careful not to, put them in harm's way. I am a citizen. I want to register and vote. Here I am at a time you have asked me to register and vote, But I'm afraid because of what I see.
Yeah, so what we will do is that after you have spent the 6 days at your place, we'll move on to the next phase. We will continue to finish all the 5 phases. Then we'll have time for mop-up. So we'll come back to a place where people are saying they are not registered for the mop-up. Okay. When we're finished with that, we will open our offices at the basic offices for further registration up to the time that you cannot add to the register, and we'll close. So you have time to go now. If you are not able to finish, we are finishing the first phase tomorrow. Then the next batch will start from Monday. If you're not able to fall within, then you wait for the mop-up. If you're not able to do the mop-up, you wait when we go to the district offices. If you are not, then as I said, if we register you be less than 60 days, you'll be registered, but you cannot be added to the list of people who vote on the 7th of December, because that will be against the law.
Okay, that's assuring. Any comments to the assuring message that he just gave? Very brief comments. Any one of you, gentlemen?
Okay, something. Thank you.
Nana Kumia starts.
His comments are reassuring. Like I said, the exercise is in its early stages, and as the complaints come, as we go on, the EC will take measures to minimize the dangers. And I'm happy that they seem to be alive to that responsibility. The business about the president, Fifi Kwete tried to partisan this little discussion. I'm terribly disappointed. This business about the president of Ghana to be blamed for imposing this registration, where's it coming from? In the NDC time, when they supervised registrations by the Electoral Commission, they said the Electoral Commission was independent and took independent decisions. In the end, another government's time, when the same Electoral Commission is taking decisions, then it is the president who is imposing. I mean, Fifi, we need to rise above this. As we speak, we are entering the season of political activity. I have videos here, if you are so minded. I have about 4 videos here of President Mahama campaigning. And you should see the complete disregard for the safety.
You seem to be focusing on President Mahama.
No. I have also mentioned President Akufo-Addo.
Okay.
If you remember.
But Fifi's point is, it's not that the president is imposing, but we are in covered times. Who moves out? Who gets an exemption to do what is determined by the president. It's the president who has determined that the EC has an exemption and that the National Identification Authority, they have exemption to do this mass process, whilst all other institutions are banned from doing any such.
The president also decided that political activity can go on. Should he then arrest President Mahama for engaging in political activity that brought people together to disregard the protocols? And when you see the videos, you understand. I'll give the videos to you. Maybe later you can play them. So it is all over.
You refer to the president going to Abotoka.
Yes.
Should he also then be arrested?
But that's what I'm saying, that you are going to have a situation where we need to think through and anticipate that this is going to intensify as the political activity gets heated up. And so we need to design rules of engagement. If we are even going to take the decision that political activity should not take place in the open, but take place in studios or whatever, we have to recognize this. We shouldn't partisan it as if it is one person who is doing it. It cuts across. And think through it and find ways that we can minimize the dangers. Because as we go towards December, it is going to increase. And it will not be coming from one party. Okay. And if you partisan the debate, it will be NPP, NDC, and will not get any.
So that's supposed to be very brief comments to the last portion of what Dr. Kweku had to say. And let me read something that may be also in that direction.